Polyphemus. He is the Cyclops son of Poseidon, a giant with a single eye who traps Odysseus and his men inside his cave on a remote island. Homer describes him as a shepherd who lives apart from other Cyclopes, without laws or gatherings, which tells us something about how the Greeks viewed civilization itself. When Odysseus blinds him to escape, the axe sets off Poseidon's wrath, and that anger follows the hero for the rest of his journey home. Polyphemus represents brute strength without cunning, and his defeat shows how cleverness can overcome raw power, even when the odds seem impossible. Laestrygonians. These are a race of giant cannibals that Odysseus encounters after leaving the island of Aeolus. Unlike Polyphemus, who is a single figure, the Laestrygonians appear as an entire hostile society, complete with a king and a harbor town. When Odysseus's fleet sails in, the giants hurl massive boulders and destroy almost every ship, killing most of his men in one brutal encounter. Only Odysseus's own vessel survives because he had the caution to anchor outside the harbor rather than sail in with the rest. This episode marks one of the darkest points early in the voyage, showing how quickly fortune can turn against the crew. Charybdis. She is not quite a monster in the traditional sense, but a massive whirlpool that swallows the sea 3 times a day before spewing it back out. Ancient sailors used her to explain the dangerous tidal currents found in narrow straits, particularly the one between Italy and Sicily. Odysseus must navigate past her without letting his ship get pulled into the void, and the danger she poses is entirely about inevitability rather than aggression. There is no fighting Charybdis, only avoiding her, which makes her a different kind of threat than the creatures with teeth and claws. Scylla. She lives on the opposite side of the strait from Charybdis, and together they form one of the most famous dilemmas in Greek mythology. Scylla has 6 heads on long necks, each with rows of sharp teeth, and she snatches sailors straight off the decks of passing ships. Odysseus is forced to choose between sailing close to her and losing a few men, or risking Charybdis and losing the entire ship. He chooses Scylla, a decision that gives us the modern phrase about being caught between 2 impossible options. Her origin story varies across sources, but most describe her as once being a beautiful nymph, transformed into a monster out of jealousy or revenge. Sirens. These creatures use their voices rather than physical strength to lure sailors to their deaths. Their song is said to be so beautiful that anyone who hears it loses all will to resist, steering their ships toward the rocky shores where the Sirens live. Odysseus wants to hear the song without dying, so he has his men plug their ears with wax while he alone stays untied to the mast, listening but unable to act on the temptation. The Sirens show a different kind of danger, one built on desire and curiosity rather than force. And that psychological threat has made them one of the most referenced figures from the entire epic. Calypso. She is a goddess and nymph who rules the island of Ogygia, where Odysseus washes ashore after losing his entire crew. Unlike the monsters before her, Calypso is not violent, but her hold over Odysseus is just as powerful in its own way. She keeps him on her island for 7 years, offering him immortality if he stays with her forever, and for a long time he has no way to refuse. It takes direct intervention from the gods, specifically a command from Zeus through Hermes, to finally convince her to let him go. Calypso represents temptation of a gentler kind, the pull of comfort and safety over the difficult journey home.